we basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Do you have any kind of respond in Iran like
All right, guys. So, as the entire world knows, a few days ago, the United States, under the direction of Donald Trump, dropped some massive bombs on Iranian nuclear sites. And shortly after, Iran was coming out and saying that there was no damage had been done. They still had the uranium, which is insane because they first claimed that they weren't enriching uranium, and then I heard them say that the uranium wasn't hard, so wasn't harmed. So which is it? But anyways, he dropped those bombs the other day, and then yesterday morning, he comes out, visit with the press, and drops F-bombs on Israel and Iran, which was just completely hilarious, I thought. Of course, the left lost their mind about it. They're, on X saying, why did we elect a president who speaks like this, knowing that their representatives and their elected officials have been dropping F-bombs and profanity all over the place for the past several months, as they always do when they want to impress the point that they're trying to be serious about something. They act most unserious. So I think the F-bomb was more just a joke from Trump. He knew they were going to have to play that on the CNN and MSNBC, who he had completely trashed to the press that were there during that interview. Anyways, what I wanted to get to today is, after all of the negative spin about the bombs dropped on Iran and the F-bomb dropped on the press, we have apparently today, or maybe it was probably yesterday, NATO chief has come out and called Trump daddy over dropping the bombs. I saw something also. Someone has nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize, which I think is appropriate. I think is really appropriate. We say, well, he dropped bombs on Iran, but also we have to think that, yeah, he dropped bombs on Iran to save a greater potential war later. And now it appears that the war between Israel and Iran may be finished, or let's hope so anyways. We'll see. So I wanted to get to this. I ran across this article I wanted to read with you guys. The NATO chief calls let me flip the screen here. NATO chief calls Trump daddy after president drops the F-bomb over Iran and Israel strikes. Let's watch the video first, huh?
They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. They fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
He sometimes has to use strong language.
You have to use a certain word.
I think we have to join the others.
Yes, we're going to join some other group. Yes, thank you. Katie, one
last question. Do you believe
she's so good. That's the only reason I tag her.
Anyways, that's all of that I wanted to watch. But okay, so let's get to this article. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte on Wednesday called President Trump daddy after the commander-in-chief furiously dropped the F-bomb when he was ripping into Iran and Israel for temporarily breaking a ceasefire deal. Rutte made the remark as Trump was comparing the fighting between Israel and Iran to children scrapping in a schoolyard, a day after the president launched a blistering attack on both countries over the ongoing barrage of missiles being fired at each other. I think that's stopped now. Let's hope it stopped. I read a little earlier that Iran now wants to come in for negotiations. What's the purpose at this point? They have no leverage to negotiate with. Donald Trump took all of their leverage away. Rutte made the remark as Trump was comparing the fighting between Israel and Iran to children scrapping in a schoolyard. A day after the president launched a blistering attack on both countries over the ongoing barrage of missiles being fired at each other. they've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. They fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2 to 3 minutes, then it's easy to stop them, Trump said, as the pair gave a joint press conference ahead of the NATO summit at The Hague. I grew up with two brothers, and the fighting was nonstop. I remember, I know exactly what he's talking about here. Kid gets so enraged, and they just, at some point, they don't even remember why they're fighting anymore. Rutt laughed and quickly added, Daddy has sometimes used strong language to get it stopped. Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to get it stopped. Elsewhere, the NATO boss gushed that Trump was a good friend and praised the president for making the summit a success by finally getting Europe to boost military spending. When it comes to Iran, the fact that he took this decisive action, very targeted, to make sure that Iran would not be able to get its hands on a nuclear capability, I think he deserves all the praise, he said. So despite despite a lot of the negative spin from both the right and the left, a lot of, what I'd say MAGA supporters or whatever, they were terribly unhappy with the Iranian mission. Candace Owens has been, well, I think she's lost her mind, but that's a topic for another day. So I hope that this ceasefire continues. That would be great if that's the end of the Israel-Iran fighting. I doubt that it is. We're going to see more of it in the future. That area over there has fought for thousands of years, and I don't think it's going to stop just because we took out a couple nuclear facilities. But we'll see how it goes. Anyways, if you got anything out of this, leave a like and comment. Let me know what you think about it. If you were unhappy with it or you disagree, leave a comment on it anyway. Also, you can leave a dislike. I'm happy with that too. Thank you guys for checking me out, and hopefully you'll consider subscribing. I will see you later. Thanks.